What's happening, all you minties? It is Tuesday. That means that we get to take an advanced look at all these trades coming out from Marvel Comics this week. So join me. Before getting started, I want to give a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us advanced copies of these books. All of these books are due out November 29th or 30th, depending on where you get your books. So we have 4 trades this week, and of course some Omnis coming out this week. But what we're going to be looking at here are an Epic Collection and some new trade paperbacks of new series that, well, one of them is a follow-up to Non-Stop Spider-Man, but it was delayed, but it is finally coming out. Now, as always, in the timestamp in the descriptions... I'll put the timestamps to where you can jump around for a specific title if you're interested in it. One thing I'm going to say is, though, I normally stay away from spoilers, but I have to talk about the new Iron Fist. So in case you don't want to know anything about that, for example, jump on to the next book. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So we kick off the list today with Savage Spider-Man. I love the fact that Non-Stop was written up there on the logo, and it's just been overruled by the Savage stamp right there. Looks like we have Man-Spider back. This is Joe Kelly's follow-up to Non-Stop Spider-Man, a series that had an untimely finish because, well, we ended up with the pandemic in 2020, so here we have the follow-up series that will wrap it up. So this is the series right here, Non-Stop Spider-Man. Chris Bachalo doing the artwork there, and this time around is Gerardo Sandoval. And kind of give you a quick little recap as to what's happened in the previous volume and why he is now Savage. The thing that I will say about this particular volume is that this one is printed in the US. So, for example, this doesn't have that glossy finish to it on the end, but the paper quality seems thicker. It's this glossy paper they're using. So sometimes the variants are on the opposite side of the standard edition covers, so not all the variants will be in the back. This collects issues 1 through 5 of this series. The book retails for $15.99, and it has 120 pages. So here we have Savage Spider-Man. What exactly is this? What is going on? Well, they kind of give you a quick recap as to why he is Savage, why he is going back and becoming more and more of an animal. And that is all due to the A+ shot that he got in the previous volume. And it's all done by the Immaculatum group. It's the Cabal group that invented this drug called A+. Now in here you get to find out exactly who was behind creating this and why. Now he's thrown on this island, I think this is like the Island of Damnation or something like that, where he is with a bunch of other people that are regressing back to their animal side. And he's also stuck there with Baron Zemo, which I'm sure you saw earlier in the previous pages. So he keeps going back and forth between killing Baron Zemo and killing everyone else on the island or becoming the alpha of this particular island. And he realizes that even if he kills Baron Zemo, he still has to deal with everybody else, including the Cabal. So now he's decided to team up with Baron Zemo to go after these people. And then, of course, it's not that easy. They start sending a bunch of missiles their way because they want this to be kind of a testing site. I'm not gonna lie, this one here is a little bit of a mess. That might be an understatement to read. You have Spider-Man, Peter Parker, regressing back to his natural roots. And his natural roots apparently is just to kill. That's the natural root of a spider. To kill everything and become this alpha animal on this island. You have this character right here. This is Bane. But it's interesting the route that Joe Kelly approaches, because I feel like he was just having fun and almost phoning this particular story in. The artwork, though, by Gerardo Sandoval really reminds me a lot of that Humberto Ramos artwork or Joe Mad artwork from the 90s and early aughts. Now, we do have a new Spider-Man to emerge from this particular miniseries, and that's a different type of Spider-Man. It's almost, I don't want to say absolute Spider-Man. We can't call him superior Spider-Man, but anyway, you can find out. Over logical Spider-Man, I guess. Again, having to take down Hydra and having to take down Baron Zemo, but he does get a cool new costume. Now, this one is going to be collected as part of the Joe Kelly omnibus. So if you want to wait on that omnibus that comes out next year, the artwork will be oversized. Let's look at the extras. All right, so here are some of the extras. And some of them are thumbnails, some of them are splash pages. And then, of course, you had some of the variants in between issues. And I didn't really speak a lot about this one because that's basically the plot. There's a lot of fighting here. And it's a lot of just the brain regressing and trying to fight that animal instinct. And that's pretty much it. But that is Savage Spider-Man. Next up, Iron Fist, The Shattered Sword. Collecting issues of Iron Fist 1 through 5. Now, before I open this book, again, I want to talk about this new Iron Fist. I feel like I can't really talk about this book without talking about who the new Iron Fist is and what exactly is happening through this series. So just in case, minor spoilers, because it is revealed at the very beginning who he's supposed to be and what exactly his purpose is. Okay, so you read it, awesome. Love to know your thoughts. If you haven't read it and Danny Rand has been your Iron Fist, well, things are about to change. When I first looked at this, first of all, I had no idea that they were going to switch out Danny Rand. I saw this and I was like, that's a pretty cool cover by Jim Chung. Why the hell is Danny wearing this outfit, though? I don't see him sporting this type of outfit, but alright, we'll see. Now, the last thing I read was the Larry Hama miniseries of Iron Fist, and that one is called Heart of the Dragon. So, in here they give you a quick recap as to what's happened to the character of Danny Rand. That Danny Rand has given up his powers to save the world. Now Shao Lao, the Undying, sleeps within his egg, waiting to be awakened once more. So just a little bit of correction, unless I'm missing something, and please let me know. I don't remember Danny giving his powers of Iron Fist up to save the world, because in that mini-series that I was talking about, The Heart of the Dragon, it was basically Danny Rand saying, yeah, I think I'm just going to be a normal dude now. So, goodbye powers. It was really strange. And I had forgotten about it until I started reading this. I was like, oh, he gave his powers? Maybe I missed something? Maybe it happened in Acts? But I think that story happened before the Avengers X-Men Eternals. But that's pretty much the setup for this. So, if you know something, if you know that Danny Rand did sacrifice his powers, by all means, please leave your comments down below. So, Danny's still fighting the good fight. He's fighting a bunch of demons. You know, we start off the story in Kunlun, of course, as you will. If you are going to start off a story about Iron Fist, no matter if it's the original Iron Fist or a new Iron Fist or Danny Rand. But it gives you a quick little recap as to the legend of Iron Fist and how he got his powers, by the way, from Kunlun. And what this land is, in case you're not familiar with any of it. Now, the other thing that they give you here is a small hint as to who this character might be. So, the things that I will suggest reading, I do know this, is, of course, the Death of Doctor Strange miniseries. And if you look back here, they kind of tell you a little bit as to other collected editions available, even though you're looking at it going, wait a minute, none of these characters are Danny Rand. What is this? But it is the character of Swordmaster, Lin Lei. And Lin Lai, I believe is how you pronounce it. Could be mistaken. But Lin Lai lost his sword in a battle against a demon, and the shards ended up going into his hands and his arm. So that's what gives him the power of Iron Fist. Now, it's a lot more complicated than that, but he is our new Iron Fist. He comes in at the last second to save Danny Rand. And here he is saving Danny. Of course, Danny doesn't know exactly what happened. How the hell does someone have the power of Iron Fist? He didn't think it would take that long to be replaced. But apparently that's not the way it works. Now, of course, he's interrupted. He was going to go on a dinner date with his buddy Luke Cage. And there are a lot of guest stars in here from Danny Rand's run as Iron Fist, because that is the run of Iron Fist that we've had. But this gives you a quick recap as to who the character of Lin Lai is and how he's able to use these powers. Now, Danny wants to help Lin control these things because he knows how this works. He knows that, we have this evil rising, the chaos god is rising, so he needs to be able to help him, even though he himself doesn't have any powers. So that's what this miniseries sets up. We see a new Iron Fist coming to his own, and we still have Danny Rand doing things to fight off evil. I like that. This honestly reminds me of Ghost Rider, Danny Ketch era, when we were introduced to a new Ghost Rider. That was my Ghost Rider growing up. I didn't have any kind of ties or love for Johnny Blaze. I didn't even know Johnny Blaze was the original Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance until I was reading Howard Mackey's run. It kind of reminds me of that because we have a new character and we have the older character kind of guiding him or wanting to guide him, but the new character, being a young punk, doesn't want to really listen. The big difference is that I think when it comes to legacy characters nowadays, a lot of people expect characters that have already appeared within the mythos of Iron Fist to take over, whether it's Colleen Wing or another character that could have become the new Iron Fist. Not somebody from another comic, so I found that pretty interesting, why they decided to go with Lin Lai. But the story itself is pretty fun, though. I did enjoy it, and the artwork is nice. And it doesn't end, because this does continue into the Axe series. This is the one that continues into Axe, the Avengers X-Men Eternals book. But yeah, it's definitely, how do I put this? It works for me because it really doesn't feel so much as a new derivative for the character. It makes sense for the character to grow. And I like the idea of the sword holding something, and then we have two other weapons out there that can hold something special that he needs to regain. So it's almost like he's on a hero's journey. And honestly, Swordmaster was a lot of fun. I did have fun with those characters. Now, as far as the extras in the back, oh man, we have a Iron Fist No More back here by Gunji, Lionel Francis Yu supplying some of the variants, as well as Jim Chung. Character design variants, and then variant 2, issue number 5. Will the sword get restored? What happens to the new Iron Fist? What happens to Danny Rand? One way to find out. The book contains all 5 issues of the 2022 miniseries of Iron Fist. It's 120 pages and retails for $15.99. And it is that time of the video to remind you to smash that like button and subscribe while I hold up the spines of the books coming out this week. Alright, let's continue with the video. Did I say smash that like button, subscribe? Ring that bell for notifications. That was the other thing too. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Alright, now let's continue. Wolverine Patch. That's it. Wolverine Patch, collecting the 5-issue miniseries. This one is drawn by Andre DeVito, and it is written by Larry Hama. The book retails for $15.99, and this one here has 112 pages. So, this reminds me of what the Astonishing Melanie was talking about, like when a writer goes back and starts writing a particular story, like David Michelinie on Venom. That's what this is. This is Larry Hama writing stories about Wolverine. But the really interesting twist about this is that Larry Hama really never got to write Wolverine as Patch. By the time Larry Hama got on the book with, Wolverine number 30, he was already getting out of Madripoor, and eventually Larry Hama's the one that took him out of Madripoor, and he was leaving the Patch secret identity, if you will. But it's nice to go back to this era, and it feels like Larry Hama just never forgot about this character. Like, it's always been a part of him. He did the same thing. This isn't the first time Larry Hama has gone back and written stuff from his past that he's worked on. Like, he's done G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, continuing the Marvel series like it never ended. This is a little bit different. This is shoehorning a story in the middle of the Patch era. So it's the era right after, I want to say this probably, because I'm a Wolverine head, I have to put this in a place and time. This feels like it's probably right before Archie Goodwin, so right around Acts of Vengeance, that era of Wolverine. Yeah. So we see a lot of characters. We see the Princess Bar. We see Tiger. We see, oh, his buddy, Archie. Archie shows up. I haven't seen Archie Corrigan in so long. I mean, outside of the Epic collections. We even get a little bio on Tiger and Archie Corrigan with artwork by the legendary Big John Buscema. So the prince, of course, of Madripoor, hires both of them to go on a run, on an airplane run, to go and deliver some stuff. This brings them to a jungle, and of course, S.H.I.E.L.D. gets involved. There's a secret down here that involves a bunch of Russian spies, some Russian mutants, and Nick Fury's like, hey, you need to butt out of this one. So Wolverine decides to jump out of the plane, and that the next round is on Archie, because he wants to make sure that Archie gets paid. Not played. Why the hell did I say played? But anyway. So here he stumbles on across a secret. What is really going on? Is he being betrayed by his own friends? And then we see some Russian mutants. But there's a lot of twists and turns in this one. And damn, I really like this series. I didn't want it to end in issue 5. Issue 5 closes the story up. And it does a nice job of kind of closing the door, making sure that this actually did happen. This definitely could have happened. You could have had this collected in Wolverine Omnibus Volume 2. I really like that about this. It's not really a retcon. It's more of an expansion of the past, respecting what happened before. And I'm not talking about Larry Hama, respecting everything he did, but everybody else that worked before him, whether it was Mary Jo Duffy, whether it was Archie Goodwin, John Byrne. John Byrne never really wrote him. Peter David or Chris Claremont, of course. So I thought that was really cool, and the story works. What threw me for a loop was I'm sitting here reading this, and I'm like, well, no, that wouldn't make any sense. He didn't know that character was alive back then. Why is this? Then he throws you for a loop, because I'm sitting here arguing with this stupid comic book about a particular timeline about one character, and I'm like, well, no, that doesn't make sense because they were reunited and so. I'm not going to spoil who the character is. And then I thought, oh, wait a minute, no, that actually works because of this little loophole. So, well done, Larry Hama. Not only did you come back to write the character like you never freaking left, but you did enough research to know exactly what to write in here. I had a lot of fun with this one. I did not want this one to end. And I want to see more of the characters. There's 3 characters that are introduced through these pages. These 3 right here, I want to see more of them. I want to know what happens, and will they show up again? So that's all I will really say about this one. If you're a Wolverine fan, go and read this damn book. It is so freaking good. I'm serious. It's good, especially if you enjoyed the Madripoor era of Wolverine. There are not that many variant covers either, surprisingly, for a Wolverine patch book. This is one of the few. I'm not going to show any of the others because there's kind of a little bit of a spoiler there. But no, this one was good. This one took me by surprise, and out of this week, this is definitely my pick. Last but not least, Thor Epic Collection Volume 21, Blood and Thunder. Oh man, do you know how excited I was when I saw that Thor, the movie, was going to be called Love and Thunder? And I'm like, oh, they might have aspects of Blood and Thunder. It didn't at all. Excited about this for a couple of reasons. Number one, I can get rid of this old trade paperback, Thor, Blood and Thunder. Goodbye, don't need it anymore. Be part of our giveaway one day, whenever we reach a certain number, maybe 80,000 or so. Still need to mail off a few packages from the last giveaway. But the second reason is people get to see Tom Grindberg artwork. I love that guy's art. Definitely hit and miss, though. And I can respect that. Look at Tom Grindberg, man. That is what if Frank Frazetta and Mike Mignola had a baby. You'd get Tom Grindberg. I said what I said. This is definitely the most 90s Thor book, well, that I've done an overview of. It kicks off with annual number 18. And this collects Thor 468 to 475. Annual 18, which we're looking at right here. Silver Surfer 86 through 88, Warlock Chronicles 6 through 8, and Warlock and the Infinity Watch 23 through 25. Look at how badass that is. This is a huge crossover book. I mean, this is a, 12, 13 part Blood and Thunder. And when I talk about the synopsis of it, you're going to ask yourself, How did they go that long? The same way they did Maximum Carnage. They just kind of overextended themselves. The annual here introduces us to the character of the Flame. This guy right here who has a secret. There's a reason why he wears a helmet, and he's cursed with people just making fun of him. It's an interesting character, to say the least. And the character does show up later on, getting tricked by Loki here in this Tom Rainey backup story. And this is during the era of Marvel where they were introducing new characters in every one of these annuals. The annuals came polybagged with a trading card. I haven't looked at the extras. I assume the extras will have the cover with the polybag and the trading card front and back. We get a Beta Ray Bill story drawn by Tom Grindberg. I'm talking a lot about this guy, but just look how massive and how bulky his characters are. It's a lot different than the artwork he was using on Tarzan. So, then we get Blood and Thunder Part 1. And Blood and Thunder, best way to describe it is God gone mad. That's it. This god has lost his damn mind. So, that's the best way to describe this particular story. It's Thor roaming around in space, completely out of his damn mind, and attacking people that he would consider friends. He appears to be under some kind of deep spell or influence. Could be that he's imagining things, but yeah, that's it. I mean, this plot immediately kicks off with him just snapping. This is after the events of Infinity Crusade, by the way, number 6. So this is where he's sitting with Sif, and she's trying to calm him down. He keeps seeing visions of a Valkyrie. He's obsessed with this Valkyrie, and he doesn't believe her. He believes that she's also lying to him. So that's what kicks this off. And he's claiming his allegiance to his imaginary lover. Of course, this is when Beta Ray Bill shows up, and then all hell breaks loose. That's exactly the best way to describe it. Thor will have none of it, and they start fighting. And then he gets into it with the Silver Surfer. Most of this written, I want to say half of this is written by Ron Marz. Ron Marz was the writer on Silver Surfer and Thor at the time, and then Jim Starlin was the writer on Warlock Chronicles and Warlock and the Infinity Watch. And when I say that this is the most 90s crossover, I can see that this being labeled as one of the 90s crossover books. Max Sam, I haven't seen him in so long. Because I remember when I was doing my Thor reading order and I got the Thor Blood and Thunder, people were chiming in on how horrible that era was. And I mean, even Ron Marz himself has stated that he made a lot of mistakes writing Thor, basically because he was such a big fanboy of Walter Simonson's run that he inherited, I'll just use that word instead of borrowed, a lot of those story elements that Simonson used in his run for the exact same things happening in Marz's run. And this story is a prime example of 90s crossovers. The 90s were just bogged down with crossover after crossover. The X titles had their own summer crossovers. The big events were happening within Avengers and all the other titles. And then titles like Warlock Chronicles, Warlock and the Infinity Watch, Silver Surfer, and Thor, all of them crossed over into this big particular event known as Blood and Thunder. Some nice artwork in here, but again, I can see where some people are like, oh, that's so 90s, it looks awful. I'm not exaggerating when I say, prepare to just watch Thor fight his friends. That's it. There's a couple of twists and turns here, like when one of them being that Thanos shows up. There's a big fight with Thanos in here. But just expect a big battle, because that's basically what this is. It's one long fight that lasted 12, 13 issues, and wrapping up with this right here. Issue 473 of Thor? No, it's 471, where Thor is just flying out of his own title. I believe MC Wyman by now is drawing the issues of Thor. Or Thor Must Die. Yeah, that's right, MC Wyman. Ron Marz, of course, still writing the issues. I think this is his last issue of Thor. And then we get this guy back. This man named Roy Thomas, back to writing The God of Thunder. Roy Thomas was back writing Thor. Introducing new characters, the Godlings. You have Blitzana, Loga, and Luminor. Where are those guys in the movies? But MC Wyman supplying the illustrations here. I remember the Harrison cover to issue 475. It had this painted look to it. But again, nothing really that thought-provoking. Just Thor duking it out. We do see the return of the High Evolutionary right there. And then we have the cover to 475. I'll show you here in a little bit. And that one has like this painted classic look to it. That's not MC Wyman right there. I think it's Sandu Florea, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this issue right here. I remember this painted cover. Issue 475 of The God of Thunder, written by Roy Thomas. MC Wyman coming back as the artist. And again, his new characters teaming up with him. And it's a fight against the High Evolutionary. And now we're getting deep into the 90s. Now we're getting into 1994, 1995. Extras in the back, not very many. Like I said, there would be a cover with a poly bag, the front and the back of the card. Not sure what ended up happening to the Flame. Marvel 1994, the year in review pinup. And yes, this has been available in trade paperbacks before, such as the one I just showed, which they recolored, so they love putting those extras in the back. And the back of it, there's original art right there. And original artwork by Bruce Zick, who actually did, I think, just one issue in here. MC Wyman doing that particular page. This one here retails for $44.99, and it has 504 pages. So if you're a Thor enthusiast, you're absolutely going to pick this up. I mean, obviously some of us are completists, so, you know. But if you avoid the 90s, this might be one of the reasons why you didn't read Thor in the 90s. I don't know, maybe you left before this or after this, but that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing any of these books, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content and page count of these books. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you're picking up. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you've read these books, let me know what you think about them. Don't forget to smash that like button on the way out. Everyone, please stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.